Hello again, everyone. Just wanting to put together a quick video. A couple people have asked me how I'm running the air lines from the compressor to the switch plate. I wanted to just put together a quick idea of the way I'm putting mine together. It's the least amount of parts, I think, and then it's also probably the cleanest way, and then that's basically using all of the ARB air lines and connectors. The switch plate was pretty much designed around this low profile air chuck, and it's panel mount, so it mounts on the back with a 3/4 inch bolt. These are some 45-degree angle flare fittings that work with the ARB lines. So I've just got both of my air chucks bolted to the plate. I've got my 45-degree angle flare fittings. Now this part, I do not see the ARB actually sells a part like this. I got this off Amazon, and I'll put a link to the description. But essentially what it does, it runs two flare fittings on the ends for the sides, and then it goes to, they're both 1/4 inch, and then it goes to a 1/4 inch NPT fitting that then goes into the compressor. Now ARB does have singles, but I could not find a T-joint to be able to run two of them. They have a T-joint, but it is three 1/4 inch flare fittings, and it does not have the NPT to go in here, so you would need another adapter. Putting another adapter on it would also make it stick out more, which might cause a clearance issue with the seat once you put your seat back up. But again, it's real simple. Use this 1/4 inch NPT fitting and the T, get it into the compressor. I've got the 1 meter airlines, ARB airlines. I'm just going to run one from each side, so basically I'm going to loop it right side over to one air chuck. Same thing for the other air chuck. Now, if you're only going to run one air chuck, you could use the single that comes out, and you can actually adjust the way that this port comes out. That's why the fitting or the casing is actually set this way. You can set it to where it comes to an angle if you'd like. Because I did have, interestingly, something I didn't think about actually when I was designing it. One guy said that he has two car seats in his back seat, so the switch plate wouldn't really work for him. So a couple thoughts I've had on that is that you can run the single port adapter to the flare fitting to the flare line. Basically just run the air line down the side of the seat. One thought is that you could just easily hook up the air chuck directly to it and just leave it kind of laying beside of your seat. The other thought is to use one of the ARB Multi Mounts. And actually when you buy this kit, it comes with a few different fittings and stuff also. So what that would do is you could take this and maybe screw it down to the floor right beside of the seat and have your air chuck. Now, I'm working on a design that's similar to that also adds the rocker switch in it. So then you could have the rocker switch and the air chuck both on the side of the seat without having to use the switch plate that's under the seat. Now, if you did want to go a little more traditional, maybe you've already got a bunch of air parts and stuff setting around the home, go a little more old school. These are called bulkhead fittings. I got these on Amazon. And essentially what these do, they bolt through the holes for the air chucks, 3/4 inch, and it gives you the ability to set up a different type of air chuck system that would work and still have clearance for the seat by putting it on a 45-degree angle. It's not quite as pretty as the ARB stuff, and actually these aren't really expensive. I'm surprised it costs as much from shipping on these as it did to buy them, so about $10 a piece I think is what I pay for the air chucks. But like I said, to me the cleanest route is to go ahead and just use the ARB fittings, because these air chucks do have the flare fitting on the end, and which can be hard to find. I went to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's trying to find flare fittings to fit these, and was not very successful in doing so. I did find some stuff on Amazon, and what this is it goes from a 1/4 inch flare to a 1/4 inch MPT adapter. And I'll also put a link to Amazon on that one so you guys know which one it is. These are about $10 a piece. So actually by the time you buy these, you're better off probably just to buy the ARB air chucks. Save yourself having to put so many parts on there, and also looks cleaner. The first video, as a few of you had noticed, I did have a video up before because I'd mentioned on using press to fit connectors using some 3/8 inch press to connect hose, and I was talking about using one of these off of the compressor, and it is plastic. It is a press to connect fitting, and I had a couple people actually message me about having those that said that with them being directly on the compressor, that they have heard from people that use one of those in the compressor and it got hot and actually ruptured. So for me, that's enough for me to just kind of stay away from the plastic. If you're not going to be running the compressor a lot at one time where it's going to get that hot, it might not be that big of a deal, but for me, I'm going to set it up once and I'm going to set it up right. Another thought too is that if you are going to be running this compressor a long time, especially say you set it up and you're coming off the air chucks and you're putting in all 4 tires and airing up all 4 tires, I mean, obviously this is going to get hot. It's got a fan. It's got a lot of clearance on the top for getting some air in there. But I would suggest maybe taking the seat, pull the seat forward just a little bit, just so it has a little more clearance around this area, just in case that does get too hot. And it doesn't, you don't want it to mess with the carpet on the back of the seat. Again, with using this T-joint, though, directly into the compressor, that's about as low profile as you can get it. Actually, at first, I didn't even think that the airline was going to hook up. It was so low, but it fits perfect, and it, like I said, it's almost touching the compressor, so it's perfect fit. So, again, this is my opinion only. As far as the wiring and stuff goes, I'm definitely not an electrician, and these ARB compressors have one heck of a wiring harness with them, the twin and the single. I hacked out at least half of the wiring harness on the single that I have in the bed of my Gladiator, only because I'm not using lockers, so there was no reason to use it. But I am going to be utilizing my rocker switch on the switch plate, so I'm going to be hooking up all my wiring and stuff to go to that. But I will probably do the same and take out the locker stuff. But that's about it. Like I say, in personal opinion, I say go with the ARB stuff. It's the cleanest. It's probably going to give you the best setup, I think, as far as just getting things in there and making sure it's done right. Not a paid placement by ARB at all. But anyway, if you guys got any questions, just shoot me a message. I'm on Facebook, 813 Fabrication and Design. You can probably see me on the message boards with the groups on Facebook quite a bit. If not, 813fabrication.com if you guys are interested in the behind the rear seat. It's the behind the driver's rear seat mounting plate for the ARB compressor. It does hold the twin or the single compressor, so you can set that up either way. You can also get the both mounts, both switch plates, and all this stuff on my website, 813fabrication.com. Look forward to seeing you guys, and like I say, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.